We're doing a lot of Thanksgiving this month, aren't we? The whole month. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful song. Yes, the divine bounty is the theme for November, and today's talk is about gratitude power. Gratitude power. And what I've come to know is that people are gratitude-powered beings. That's what we are. We're gratitude-powered beings. We can welcome into our experience those things that we are grateful for. We can just make them welcome into our lives. Ideally, we can dwell in gratitude all the days of our lives. We can be grateful in all things. We can be grateful in all things. Ralph Waldo Emerson said this. He said, "Cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you, and give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude." How about that? All things have contributed to your advancement, even the stuff we'd rather not think about. Even the crappy stuff. You know what I'm talking about, the bad relationships and the breakups and the screw-ups and the bad news and the mistakes and the failures and the inaction, shall I go on? You know all that stuff. See, I'm being really nice here. All of those things that we have looked upon as setbacks were, in truth, advancements. Advancements, he said it. All things have contributed to our advancement. Intriguing thought, right? Well, Dr. Robert Emmons is a psychology professor in the University of California at Davis, and he has done research for years and years on gratitude, and he wrote a book in 2007 or 2008 called Thanks, How the Science of Gratitude Can Make You Happier. And in it, he said this. He said, "Gratitude is an attitude, but it is much more. Gratitude has also been depicted as an emotion, a mood, a moral virtue, a habit, a motive, a personality trait, a coping response, and a way of life." So now we know that science is finally catching up to what the saints and the sages and the mystics have known all along, that gratitude is good for us. Gratitude is good for us. Residing in a state of gratitude improves our life. Being thankful in all things, the things that we judge good and the things that we judge bad, being thankful in all things improves our outlook. Even if being grateful does not improve our circumstances in the moment, it improves our outlook. It changes us. It changes us. You know, Dr. Emmons' book had a really interesting beginning to it. He refers to the events surrounding Stephen King's horrific accident. You know, the writer Stephen King, back in 1999, I think it was, he was walking on a road in Maine, and he was hit by a distracted driver driving a van. He was hit on the side of the road, and he suffered really incredible, terrific injuries. He had multiple compound fractures to his legs. He had a broken hip, he had a collapsed lung, he had broken ribs, scalp laceration, chipped vertebrae. It was awful. And when he was interviewed later on, while he's lying on the side of, they asked him, when you were lying on the side of the road, and he was conscious, what was going through his mind? He said, gratitude. Is that intriguing? How weird is that? He said, gratitude. And then he said he remembered being airlifted to the hospital, and he said when he was being airlifted and flying in that helicopter, he said he never saw the sky so blue. He was never so glad to be alive. And you know, during his period of recovery, he said this. He said, "It is God's good grace that he, the driver, is not responsible for my death." Gratitude, being grateful in all things. Being grateful in all things. Steve Marabelli, who wrote Life, the Truth, and Being Free, said this: "Sometimes life knocks you on your ass. Get up, get up, get up. Happiness is not the absence of problems. It is the ability to deal with them. It's the ability to deal with them. Gratitude, here's the thing, gratitude shifts our emphasis on trying to get happiness and satisfaction from the outside to generating it from the inside. See that difference? The feeling of gratitude overcomes the most fundamental false belief that we carry around with us. Our not good enoughness. Our not good enoughness. That's original sin. That's our fall from grace. We are born into physical form, and once we realize we're in physical form, we feel separate and apart from our God. We feel like separate and disparate beings from each other and not connected. And so we start living from that idea, that false idea of separation. We carry with us that illusion of separation, and that illusion of separation drives us to some of the behaviors we indulge in. And then we act out in ways that reinforce the illusion of that separation. We overindulge. We become overbusy. We become overindulging. We become overgreedy. We try to fill that illusion. We try to fill that empty space, that illusion of separation, with stuff from the outside. We try to keep that feeling of insufficiency at bay with effects, with conditions, with things of the world, never getting to the cause. This not enoughness can motivate us to seek people, places, and things outside of ourselves that will fill the emptiness, the bottomless pit of insufficiency that we feel, putting us forever on that treadmill of getting and running and doing, instead of generating within us the truth of our being. The truth of our being. In the class, Principles of Financial Freedom, there is a process that we do called Fear to Faith. And it's a worksheet. And at the bottom of the worksheet, there's this beautiful prayer. It's called the releasing prayer. And it's a 3-line prayer. That's all it is. And the first line is, I release my belief in, fill in the blank, whatever it happens to be for you at the moment. So in this particular case, it would be insufficiency or not enoughness. I release my belief in not enoughness. This is the universal false belief that we all have, that we're somehow apart from our good. We're somehow not good enough, for whatever reason. So that would be the first line. I release my belief in, and then you add your false belief. The second line is, I release my need to, and then you fill in the blank. Now, what that second line is the thing that we do in the world, the way we act out in the world, to try to push away the feelings that false belief sets up in us. So what do you do when you start feeling that feeling of not good enough? You go shop, you go buy something, you go drink something, you go eat something, you go run out and be with friends and not be alone, whatever it is that you do to try to not feel what you're feeling. That's in the second line. I release my need to, whatever your particular acting out is. And the third and the last line is, I am grateful that God is the, fill in the blank, I am. And you fill that in with the word of God, the word of truth, the word that you know yourself to be. I am the wholeness that God is. I am the love that God is. I am the joy that God is. Whatever the truth is that overcomes, that transforms that false belief for you into the truth of who you are. That releasing prayer, that healing prayer is the way that we identify our false beliefs. It is the way that we can identify them, and we can identify the way we try to cover them up by the actions we take in the world. The way we try to push them away. And what it does finally is it reinforces the truth of us. Whatever that truth is in the moment. I am the love that God is. I am the joy that God is. I am the wholeness, the power, the peace, whatever the truth is. And it reinforces that. Cultivating that feeling of gratitude, cultivating the feeling of gratitude is the antidote to that primary thing that haunts us, that not good enoughness. that primary illusion that we suffer from, the not enoughness, is transformed with our practice of gratitude. So how about we do this? How about we practice developing gratitude in all things? In all things, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Epicurus said this. He said, do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Remember that what you now have was once among the things you only hoped for. What you have now is only among the things you only hoped for. You know, I believe we all have a set point of gratitude. We all have our comfort zone of gratitude, you know, kind of like our level. We have a default setting, if you will, of gratitude. And I think that our spiritual practice can be one that increases that level. It raises that level from wherever it is to, you know, wherever you want it to be, so that we truly can be grateful in all things. We can be truly grateful in what we would call the failures or what we would call the bad stuff. We can really be grateful in all things because it is true. It gets us to where we are today. And in The Power of the Idea, Ernest Holmes said this. He said, gratitude is not only a virtue, but it is also part of a practical philosophy of daily life. And that's what we are, right? We're a practical spirituality. So it's part of a practical philosophy of daily life. And he goes on to say this, there is no wiser way of living than to remember every morning what life has given us and to lift up our thought in thankfulness for every bounty we possess. That's gratitude. That's gratitude. We are a practical spirituality. So developing gratitude has to be a practical practice for us. We have to have an approach for it. And you know, I've been reading about gratitude all month long because, well, I wanted to be prepared. Because this is the month to talk about gratitude and Thanksgiving. And you know, the interesting thing about it, and is everything that I read, 3 themes kept coming forward all the time. 3 practical approaches to developing this attitude of gratitude. And so I want to tell you what they are. They were recurring recommendations. And the number 1 thing is to keep a gratitude journal. And that's really easy to do. Get a little memo pad, you know. Keep it in your purse. Gentlemen, not your purse. Keep it in your pocket. Whatever. You know, keep it near you somewhere. Put it at work. Put it where you put your coffee every morning. Put it someplace where you can get to it easy. Just keep a gratitude journal. It doesn't have to be a diary. You don't have to say, dear gratitude, you know, anything like that. Just jot down 1 or 2 or 3 quick words. Something you're grateful for in the moment. Oh my God, thank you for clean water. You know, whatever it is. I'm always grateful for indoor plumbing. You know, I have camped out. I'll never do that again. God, what are you people thinking? Now, camping out is when I have to call for room service. That's camping out. If my head is not sleeping on my own pillow, that's camping out. Anyway, gratitude journal, gratitude journal. What are you grateful for in this moment? I can breathe. You know, I have clean air, whatever it is in the moment. Oh my God, my Mr. Coffee works. Grateful, grateful, grateful. I got to work on time or whatever, or I have a job, whatever it happens to be. A gratitude journal. Just have it, keep it. You don't have to fill it out every day. Don't make it an obligation on yourself so it's one more thing you have to do. You got to do it out of joy. You got to do it out of gratitude, right? Okay. If it gets stale, how about a gratitude jar? Do something different. Change it up. Take a little piece of paper and write the thing you're grateful for. Stick it in a jar. Stick it in a jar. Stick it in a jar every day. And you know what you do on New Year's Eve? Yeah, you take the jar out and you spill out all the blessings and you read them over and you read about all the wonderful blessings that you've had the whole year. What an intention setter for the new year, right? First recommendation, keep a gratitude journal or a gratitude jar or a gratitude something. Make it a habit. Make it a habit. Number 2, every single day, make it your practice to tell someone, anyone, what you appreciate about them. Just someone that runs across your path, someone who crosses in front of you, someone that you live with or you work with, someone who you don't even know that maybe you run into in the dry cleaners, that you appreciate for some reason. Just make someone's day by telling them what you're grateful for about them. Doesn't have to be the same person every day. This is easy. There's 7 billion of us on the planet. You know, you can find people that you're grateful for every single day. Every single day. Find someone and verbalize it. Tell them out loud. You know, there's nothing worse than being grateful for someone and not telling them. It's like wrapping a present and not giving it to them. You know, just tell them you're grateful to them for something. Whatever it is, whatever it is. Number 3, when you pass a mirror or a reflection of yourself, love it. When you pass a reflection, when you're looking in the mirror, when you're brushing your hair or your teeth, or when you pass by a window and you see your reflection, tell yourself you love you. Tell yourself something you appreciate about yourself. Say something positive about yourself. Because usually we stand in the mirror and what do? I'm not even going to tell you what you do. You know what you do. You are your own worst critic, aren't you? Tell yourself something you love about you. Doing these 3 things on a daily basis will lift the level of gratitude, will lift your set point, your default setting. It will lift the level of gratitude in your life. It improves our outlook, and it improves our lives. Ernest Holmes said this in the Holmes Reader for All Seasons. He said, "The attitude of praise and thanksgiving are salutary. They do not only lighten the consciousness, lifting it out of sadness and depression, they elevate the consciousness to a point of acceptance. Praise and thanksgiving are affirmations of the divine presence, the divine abundance, and the divine givingness. It is only when we live affirmatively that we are happy. It is only when we recognize that the universe is built on affirmations that we can become happy. It is an affirmative world in which we live. God is love. Being grateful is our set point. It's our natural state of being. In the beginning of this talk, I said people are gratitude-powered beings, right? People are gratitude-powered beings. We can welcome into our experience those things we are grateful for. Because Ernest Holmes said this about affirmative prayer. He said, we don't make anything happen, we make it welcome. We don't make anything happen with our prayers. We make it welcome. Ideally, we can dwell in this state of thanksgiving and gratitude all the days of our lives. Remember what Dr. Emmons said. Gratitude is an attitude, but it is much more. It has been depicted as an emotion, a mood, a moral virtue, a habit, a motive, a personality trait, a coping response, a way of life. And nowhere in that description did you hear anything about the intellect, did you? Because it's a feeling. It is a state of feeling. It is a state of being. It's an emotion. It comes from the heart. It's a way of relating to the world. That 18 inches, from the head to the heart that we're always talking about. We're always trying to move things. I know this is true. How do I feel it? How do I live it? Because this is where we cultivate gratitude, from the heart space. That coherence that Greg Braden talks about between the head and the heart, the coherence of electrical energy and magnetic energy that radiates out from us. It radiates out from our heart. It is the vibration which surrounds us and which we live in. That's what we're cultivating. We're cultivating that sense of gratitude from our heart space. It is the energy we emit. It is the energy we resonate with. It is the energy that surrounds us. It's about being that place where God's love makes itself known as us. Thomas Merton said this. He said, "To be grateful is to recognize the love of God in everything we do." And it is to recognize the love of God in everything God has given us. And God has given us everything. Every breath we draw is a gift of God's love. Every moment of existence is a grace. It brings with it immense graces from God. Gratitude, therefore, takes nothing for granted, is never unresponsive, is constantly awakening to new wonder and to new praise for the goodness of God. For the grateful person knows that God is good, not by hearsay, but by experience. And that makes all the difference in the world. Thank you so much.